Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another week of yoga. Deep firm. Sending that right foot back. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Alexis Faye Yoga. I'm so very glad that you've decided to join me today. If you could do me another favor and hit the subscribe and the like button down below, that really helps me out. Let's begin by finding our mountain pose. Bringing feet under knees, under hips. We'll pick up the toes and spread them out wide before setting them down. Lifting the shoulders up to the ears, rolling them back and down the spine, opening the palms towards the front of our mats. We'll close the eyes and take a few deep breaths here. Heel-toeing the feet out a little further, moving into our happy elephants, letting the arms go wide. We'll swing them back and forth, lifting the back heel as we turn, starting to wake up the shoulders, the hips, the spine. Letting the arms run out of momentum, coming to rest by our side with a big inhale, reaching tall to the ceiling. Exhale, we'll hinge at the waist, finding a forward fold. Inhale, half high, lengthening out through the top of the head. Exhale to fold. Wiggling out or moving however feels right to you here. You can put as much bend to the knees as you'd like. You can nod the head, yes, and shake the head, no. Taking a little bit to start noticing the body. Noticing if there's any areas of tension or tightness today. And then finding a movement or a wiggle that helps those areas feel just a little bit better. With our next inhale, finding another half high, this time engaging through the core, starting to wake up the abdomen, pulling the rib cage in and the belly button in towards the spine, putting very little weight in the hands. And an exhale brings us forward again. Planting the hands down, putting as much bend to the knees as you need. We'll heel toe the feet further for our wide-legged forward fold. Wiggling out some more here, maybe nodding the head, yes. Or wiggling out through the legs. Allowing the upper body to soften a little closer towards the floor. Maybe taking the top of the head towards the mat. We'll walk the hands over towards our left foot. Now walking through center, over towards the right foot. And taking the hands out in front of the body again. We'll take the hands one step further away from the toes, out towards the top of our mat or side of our mat. And we're going to find a little forward and back movement. Shifting up towards the hands, and then sending the tailbone back behind. Seeing if we can keep the heels down the whole time we're moving, so we can stretch out the backs of the legs and the insides of the legs as we shift. Keeping the core stable and strong here. Noticing what your abdomen is doing. Making sure we're not being soft through the core. Bringing the hips and legs back to a neutral position. We can heel toe in a little bit further if you'd like, or we can stay here. We're going to move our left hand in towards center. So bringing it just a little bit closer in towards the legs and planting it down between the feet. So we have a little bit of a tripod going. And with a really big inhale, we'll take the right arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bringing the right hand down, replacing the left. Inhale, taking the left arm up. Going back through center again. Here, finding an inhale half high. We can stay on the fingertips or float the abdomen up. Exhale, forward fold. Now bringing the legs in just a little bit, maybe just pivoting the heels in, toes point away. Or if we've got a really wide stance, bringing them in so they're about double the distance of hips distance or shoulders distance. And then inhale, lifting the upper body up. And then we're going to bend through the knees, dropping the tailbone straight down for our goddess pose. Now we can take the arms to our cactus if we like, but if you notice that starts to put a little bit of a curve to the spine, drop the arms back down. We want a really tall spine through the top of the head, so we're rolling the tailbone under and sinking a little bit lower here. If you'd like, you can find a little bit of a bounce or a little bit of a sway side to side, or you can find your peace in stillness. Maybe softening just a little bit lower, holding here for a few more breaths. Focusing on that long spine, reaching the top of the head up towards the ceiling. And pressing down through the toes. Good. Lifting the legs towards straight and wiggling the hips out. Now I'll send the hips back behind us so we can bring the hands to the knees. Feel free to wiggle the hips out some more here. And with our next exhale, we'll bring the right shoulder across towards the left knee, finding a gentle twist. Coming back through center. And with another exhale, taking the left shoulder towards the right knee. And back to center again. Lengthening out through the legs, we'll take them towards straight. Opening up through the arms, we'll lift the chest, splaying the fingers out wide. And with a really big exhale, bringing the arms down, heel toeing the legs in. We'll make the way to the top of our mat. With a big breath in, lifting the arms towards the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half high, engaging that core. Exhale to fold. We'll drop the hands down in front of the toes and step or hop our way back to a plank. Now we can always drop the knees down, or we can keep them lifted. We're going to shift forward slightly, bringing the elbows in, and a chaturanga brings us down to the floor. Inhale to a baby cobra, and sending the hips up and back, down dog. Wiggling out some more here. Again, noticing through the body if there's any areas that are a little tight today, or any areas that need a little extra love or attention. We'll extend the left leg back, reaching long with the toes. Shifting forward slightly and bringing that left foot up with us and setting it down towards the hands. Full breath in here and an even larger breath back out. Pressing down through the feet, we'll find a warrior one here or a high lunge. Lifting the fingertips tall to the ceiling. Pressing down evenly through both feet. With our exhale, we'll bring the hands down again, framing out that left foot, bringing the right foot up, and sending the left foot back. Full breath in on this side. An even bigger breath back out. Pressing through the feet and lifting the upper body, reaching towards the ceiling. Exhale, framing out the right hand. And we'll send the right leg behind us, plank pose. So we're going to meet in our down dog. So we can send the hips up and back straight from here. Or we can find a flow, either the flow that we did before to our cobra, or we can find an up dog, or we can find a child's pose, or any number of poses in between. Once you've made it to your down dog, we'll extend the right leg long behind, reaching with those toes, shifting forward, bringing the right foot with, and setting it down. Full breath in, even larger breath back out, pressing through the feet, lifting the arms up, reaching tall. We'll lift and rotate open towards our left side for our warrior two. So feet are now perpendicular, expanding across the chest, reaching with the fingertips, rolling that right knee out by putting a little more pressure into the pinky toe. We'll extend the right leg towards straight, sending the hips behind and reaching the right arm forward. With an exhale and taking as much time as you'd like, we'll shift towards our side angle. Bringing the right hand towards the right leg, taking the left arm tall. With an inhale, floating the body back up. And we're going to pick up the toes of our right foot, turning them to our side mat, bringing heels in towards center, toes point away, tucking the tailbone, dropping to our goddess pose. Again, we can find the cactus arms if we'd like, and if our spine will allow for straight spine with the arms up, or you can keep the arms down. Maybe softening a little bit lower in our goddess pose, focusing on expanding up through the top of the head. Bringing the hands to the knees, wiggling the tailbone out behind. With an exhale, our right shoulder comes across towards the left knee. Inhale to center. Exhale, left shoulder towards right knee. Inhale to center. Lengthening out through the legs, star pose. And a big exhale takes us all the way forward. Wide-legged forward fold. We'll walk the hands back around towards the top of our mat, framing out the right foot and sending it back behind. Optional flow here, or we'll meet in our down dog. Extending the left leg long and bringing it up to the hands, pressing down through the feet. Inhale, lifting the upper body towards the ceiling, and we'll lift and rotate open towards the right side of our mat. Warrior two. Now in this pose, our back hand tends to lose where it is in space. So we're going to look over at that back hand, notice where it is, and maybe reach a little longer, or bring the shoulders up so they're parallel, before bringing the eyes forward again. Rolling the foot to the outer edge, so we're reaching the left knee back behind, or out to the side, before lengthening out through the left leg, sending the hips back. And again, as slowly or as quickly as you'd like, we'll move into a side angle. Reaching the right hand towards the ceiling, bringing the left hand towards the leg or towards the floor. Then inhale, floating the body back up, engaging through the core as we do so. Picking up those left toes and turning them towards our side mat. Heels in towards center, toes point away. Tucking the tailbone, dropping straight down, goddess pose. Option to find a little pulse or a little bounce here or a little sway. We can also lift one heel or both heels at a time, going back and forth. And then softening a little bit lower. We'll bring both hands to the knees, taking that tailbone back behind, giving it a wiggle and out. Exhale, bringing the right shoulder across towards the left knee. Inhale to center. Exhale, other side. Inhale to center. Lengthening out through both legs, star pose. Expanding across the chest, taking the fingertips out, taking the eyes up. Exhale, bringing the hands down as we swan dive the chest forward, wide-legged forward fold. Walking the hands towards the top of the mat, pivoting the body around. This time we'll step the back foot up towards the top of the mat. Inhale, half high, engaging through that core. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reaching tall to the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half high. And we're gonna stay here for a minute. Paying attention to what the toes are doing. Are the toes floating? Maybe pressing down through the toes a little bit more. You may notice that your whole body shifts forward when you do that. Tightening up through the abdomen. So we're really focusing on the muscles of the front and the back of our core. Keeping a soft bend to the knees. And a really big exhale brings us forward. We're gonna find a little bit of breath work here to move the spine like a wave. So with our inhale, dropping the chin to the chest, we'll lift the body or the upper body up, taking the eyes forward and then softening down. With our inhale, rolling up through the spine, finding a half high, taking the eyes forward and softening down. Continuing this, moving with the breath a few times. Beautiful. Inhale, reaching all the way to the ceiling. Exhale, bringing the hands down to our sides. Taking a moment here. Refinding the breath. Maybe giving the muscles of the core and the back a little bit of a break. And an exhale, forward fold. We'll make our way to a plank pose, stepping or hopping the legs back. Optional flow here. We're straight to our down dog. We'll bring the hands one step or a half step closer towards the toes. Bring as much bend to the knees as you need here to really send that tailbone up towards the ceiling. We are going to pick up our left hand and bring it through center over towards our right ankle. Finding a little bit of a twist here, taking the eyes over towards the right side of our mat. Bringing that left hand back to center. Wiggle out through the hips, through the legs. And we'll do the other side. Lifting the right hand, taking it back towards the left ankle, and looking over towards the left side of the mat. Bring the right hand towards center again, shifting forward to our plank pose. Chaturanga to lower. Inhale to a cobra or an up dog. And we'll send the hips back to our child's pose. It's up to you whether you'd like a close leg child's pose or a wide-legged child's pose. With an inhale, we'll lift the chest up, bringing the hands underneath of us. And if our legs are together, we'll take the knees to the outer edges of the mat, bringing big toes in till they touch. Bringing the left hand in towards center. So again, we're making that tripod with our left hand and our knees. And a big inhale, we'll bring the right hand up to the ceiling. Exhale, threading that right arm through the left side of the body, bringing the shoulder and side of face down. Bringing the left hand back around and pressing it into the floor, unthreading the right, sending it up, and bringing it down. Placing that right hand in the middle, inhale, left arm reaches towards the ceiling, and we'll thread the needle on this side. Pressing down through the right hand, unthreading the left, sending it up, and bringing it down. We'll bring the knees under the hips again, and find a tabletop. Pressing into the fingertips, pressing into the tops of the feet. With an inhale, we'll turn the tailbone and the eyes towards the ceiling. Exhale, curling in towards center, arching up through the spine. Moving back and forth with the breath. Now this is a movement that can get really repetitive and can be done without much thought. So we're wanting to bring some more intention into this movement. Maybe you want to focus on the core. So when you're reaching the eyes and the tailbone up, you're really focusing on dropping the stomach towards the floor so you can feel a stretch across the upper abs. When you're sending the spine up towards the ceiling, you're pulling the abs in towards center and maybe bringing the breath up towards the rib cage. Moving back and forth like that. Or we can focus on something else, like the movement of the spine. focusing on rolling one vertebrae past the next. We can always try starting at the tailbone with each movement. So starting at the tailbone and rolling, making it so our head and neck are the last to curl in. Or when we're lifting them up towards the ceiling, dropping the stomach before we move the neck and the eyes. Finding something here to really focus on. And back to our tabletop. Extending the left leg back behind. We'll drop the toes so they're pointed at the floor. So we're finding flexion through the bottom of the foot. And then we'll drop the toes down towards the mat, gently pressing back through the leg. So we're finding a lengthening through the bottom of the foot and breaking up some of the plantar fascia down there. Lifting that left leg up again, continuing to point the toes down towards the floor. We can stay here with that left leg behind us, or we can take the right arm out in front. Now we can stay here, focusing on our balance, or we can find a little bit of movement back and forth. Finding the same spinal movement as our cat-cows. With our exhale, we'll curl in towards center. Maybe bring the elbow and the knee with us. Inhale to lengthen, reaching with the finger and the heel. Back and forth. Or continuing to hold, focusing on the balance. With our next in breath, really reaching the fingers and the heel back. We'll hold for a few breaths. Before coming back to our tabletop. Bring the left knee down, right hand in, and wiggling out however you'd like here. Maybe swaying the hips or barrel rolling the chest. And then we'll find the same thing on the other side. Extending the right leg behind, pointing the toes towards the floor. Before dropping those toes all the way down, so we can press back through the heels, through the right heel. Lifting the right leg again, toes stay down towards the floor, expanding back through the heel, and maybe taking the left arm out in front. Now again, we can stay here, focusing on that balance, engaging through the core, or we can find our movement back and forth. Exhale, curling in towards center. Inhale to extend. With our next in-breath, holding, reaching with the heel and with the fingertips. And back to our tabletop. Wiggling out through the body some more. And we'll move to a child's pose. Option to keep the legs together or take them further apart. With another inhale, lifting the chest. Bring the hands with us, and we'll pause here, sitting on the heels for a second or two, stretching out the fronts of the knees and up the quads. Dropping the hips to one side to circle the legs around. We'll take the legs out in front, giving them a nice wiggling out. Moving to our seated, wide-legged forward fold, or our straddle pose, we'll take our feet past the sides of the mat. Lifting tall through the spine and rolling the pelvis back. So if you need to walk the legs out a little bit to do that, go ahead. Or it also sometimes helps to sit on a block or on a pillow to really help us roll that pelvis back and under. With our exhale, we'll soften forward. You can bring the arms out in front of the body, or you can take them to the legs, whatever feels right. And we're gonna stay here for a few breaths. Often in poses like this, poses that we don't do often, the brain tells us that it's scary or that it's dangerous. So sitting in a pose for longer, your brain starts to shut off those messages as it realizes that it's okay. And you may start to notice that you have a little bit more range of motion. Maybe with an exhale, you're able to soften a little bit more, reach a little bit further. And taking the time to notice, to assess and make those micro changes that your body allows you. With an inhale, we'll roll up the spine, dragging the hands along with us. And we're gonna find a little bit of nerve flossing here in our straddle pose. So if you felt like you didn't have a whole lot of range of motion in our forward fold, feel free to put a bend to the knees, maybe put blankets or pillows under the knees to help lift. So we're taking some of the hamstrings out of the equation. But sitting up tall through the spine, we can either bring the hands to the hips or to the ears. We're gonna find a little bit of forward and back shift with the upper body. Engaging through the core, softening forward. And an inhale to bring us back up. Do just a few more of these. Noticing if the hip flexors start firing. And an inhale brings us up, taking the hands behind the body. And we'll bring the legs out in front of the hips again, wiggling them out. And then we'll lower all the way to our backs. Planting the bottoms of the feet to the mat so we can lift and roll the pelvis under, setting our whole lower back and upper back down on the mat. We're going to put a little bit of counter movement to that hip flexors. So we can either bring the calves parallel with the floor and gently press on the thighs or on the knees. Or we can keep the legs planted on the floor if you're not wanting to do as much core work here. And we'll gently press at the hips away. We're adding a little bit more space to the low back. A little bit more space around the hips. Gently removing the added pressure to the legs, and we'll heel toe the feet to the outer edges of the mat so you can find a little windshield wipering with the knees. If you're wanting to finish out this class with a ab burner, you can take the legs straight, dropping them down, up and to the other side, or you can keep the feet planted. Taking the knees back up to the ceiling, bringing the feet down if they're up, and then bringing the heels in line with the hips again. We'll bring the left knee into the chest and take the right leg long. Finding a gentle twist by taking that left knee across the right side of the body. Bring the left knee back through center. Giving it another squeeze to the chest before switching legs. Left goes long, right comes in. And dropping the right knee to the left side of the body. Bring the right knee in, and we'll bring the left as well, hugging both legs in, maybe rocking side to side. And we can rock forward and back, or we can bring our hands down to help us move into a seated position. closing the eyes. And we'll take a few large breaths in through the nose, fully releasing the breaths back out, and taking another moment to scan through the body one last time. Noticing if there's any areas that still need a little bit of attention or a little bit more love. Thank you so very much for joining me today. It is always such a joy and an honor to get to spend this time with you. Be sure to like and subscribe so that I can bring more content, more yoga classes like this to you. And comment below if there's any other classes that you would like, or any other movements or meditations that you've been wanting. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Go in love and light.